Every day in Kenya, we buy water, juice, cooking oil, snacks. We unwrap, we pour, we use. And when we are done, the packaging remains. It doesn't just disappear. It either clogs our rivers and drains, or it becomes income for someone. The difference is not luck. The difference is systems. And that's where PAKPRO comes in. PAKPRO, the Packaging Producer Responsibility Organization, works to ensure used packaging is collected and managed responsibly. From everyday bottles and glass to specialized materials that require safe handling, we connect the companies that put products on the market with the people who collect, sort, and recycle after use. We help turn used packaging into opportunity. Across Kenya, supports over 300 waste aggregators, more than 6,000 waste pickers, recovery networks across dozens of counties. Since 2018, more than 54,000 tons of PET bottles have been recovered. Over KES 210 million has flowed into the recycling value chain. That money supports families, pays school fees, keeps small businesses running. Used packaging is not just something to throw away. It is livelihood in Mathare, in Kibra, in our estates and schools. Children are learning to separate packaging before it leaves their hands. Communities are cleaning rivers. Families are choosing bins instead of roadsides. When a child learns to sort packaging at school, they go home and teach their parents. That is how habits change. That is how communities stay cleaner. It's not just plastic bottles. Glass, cans, woven bags, and other materials are being collected and returned into the economy, step by step, material by material. Kenya's recycling system is growing stronger. A cleaner Kenya is not one person's job. It takes households, it takes businesses, it takes collectors, it takes all of us. PAKPRO supports the system that connects us. When you sort your packaging, when you return a bottle, when you use GreenBuddy to find a recycling point, you are part of the solution.
Thank you very much. Well, the video is still showing. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Charity. So once again, my name is Gathoni Methu. I'm the membership lead at PAKPRO, and we'd like to welcome you to our EPR Exchange webinar, where we'll be talking about the EPR Import Fee Certificate that is currently being issued by the government of Kenya. I would like to ask that as we participate through this call, if you have any questions, kindly use the question and answer session tab at the top to put in all your questions. I will invite the CEO to give her welcome remarks, and then we can get into the presentations.
For that, once again, good morning, everyone. I am Joyce Gashugi Waweru. I am the Chief Executive Officer at the Packaging Producer Responsibility Organization, PAKPRO. Together with our partners, the Sustainable Inclusive Business, the Shippers Council, the EAGC, the KIFWA, the Association of Kenyan Suppliers, KEPSA, we welcome you to today's webinar. You cannot hear me. Can you hear me? I hope I'm more audible. KV, is that better? You can just give me a thumbs up. Gathoni, am I audible?
Yes, you're good.
Yes, you're audible.
Okay, excellent. So we welcome you to today's webinar. This is a webinar. Okay, Amit, let me speak louder. So today's webinar is designed to answer your questions around the EPR import fee. Previously, of course, today we were going, they cannot hear me. Sorry, kindly let's check the sound first. We have too many people who are not able to hear me.
Can you hear me? Can everyone hear me? Although Joyce, I could hear you, but okay.
So I can see some are saying they can hear. Okay. So for those of you who cannot hear me, kindly maybe drop off and then join again. Thank you very much. So allow me to continue. So today's webinar is designed to answer your questions around the EPR import fee and the EPR import certificate. I believe some of you might have had the privilege to join the NEMA and KENTRADE team last week. And I appreciate that it still was not clear for some of you or most of you. And so we have been able to convene these in line with what we have been doing as a webinar series to try and provide additional clarity. That being said, we will circulate a poster that was shared with us by NEMA. They are also going to be having town hall sessions around this same issue. NEMA and KENTRADE will be meeting affected entities. These are producers, importers, brand owners, and everyone who is going to be affected by the EPR import fee this week from the 18th to the 20th. And so you can, whatever is not clear today, you will still be able to have a chance to engage with the same content or more tomorrow for those in Nairobi and Central Region, and for those, I think, in the Western Region the day after, and those in the Coastal Region thereafter. That being said, today we have the privilege, of course, of having NEMA and KENTRADE with us. They will be taking you through the different aspects around these two issues, the EPR import fee, the EPR import certificate. I know that the big challenge has been around the differentiation between the categories. Not all categories are on the KENTRADE platform. I think NEMA had provided clarity that it was 3 categories that they were kicking off on the KENTRADE platform for clearance. This is category 3, 4, and 5. For those of you who do not know those categories, I will ask my colleague Sydney to post that in the chat so that you'll be able to see what all these categories are. And for those who are in category 1 and 2, you'll be able to use the eCitizen platform. Without further ado, allow me to segue into the conversation around the EPR import fee. I know that is, we want to give a lot of room and time for the Q&A around this. We will also ask that you put in as many questions as you possibly can in the Q&A section, because NEMA and KENTRADE might not be able to meet or to answer all the questions today, depending on how many they are, but they will be able to provide feedback that we can be able to share. And for those of you who've joined our other sessions, we have been able to do that. Allow me to also say that we will share a recording of this webinar with every participant that is registered to attend this meeting. Okay. I can see some questions already coming in. Please go ahead and post them. So I think over to you, Gathoni, and welcome to you all. I hope we have a fruitful engagement today. For those of you who cannot join in, please log out and then log back in. Log out and then log back in.
Yes, we'd also like to ask that we share this space. So if you are all from one company and you're in an office, could you kindly allow to use one device if you have the ability to? And if you have any note takers that have joined the call, kindly, we will be removing them, but kindly also ensure that your note takers are not part of the call. I will then hand over to Aisha. Karibu sana. From the technical desk of the EPR division in NEMA. The floor is yours. Aisha Duba, over to you. Aisha, can you hear me? Okay, as we wait for Aisha, maybe Joyce, we could just do a few of the questions.
I think let's allow for Nema and KENTRADE to do that.
Okay.
I advise that let's get in touch with Aisha, see if she's having challenges logging in.
All right, so I think I'll ask our comms team to share another video as we sort out our speaker. So kindly bear with us. Thank you all. So we will be watching another video just to help you familiarize with PAKPRO and the work of EPR. We know some of you are still new to what extended producer responsibility is. So as we set up with Nema, kindly turn your attention to the video.
Kenya's extended producer responsibility regulations are now in effect. As businesses adapt, preparation makes all the difference. Extended producer responsibility, EPR import fee, the 150 Kenya shillings levy, HS code classification, monthly declarations, plastic clearance. These are important compliance requirements, and understanding them early saves time and cost. That's why we are hosting the EPR webinar series led by our CEO. Alongside strategic partners across the sector, 3 focused sessions designed to provide clarity, practical guidance, and sector-specific insight. If you are an importer, manufacturer, distributor, or brand owner, is designed for you. You'll gain a clear understanding of what is required, what it means for your operations, and how to approach compliance efficiently. Regulatory readiness strengthens business resilience. Join us on 3rd, 10th, and 17th March 2026. We look forward to your participation. Register today.
Have we been able to unmute Aisha? She said she wasn't able to unmute.
All right. Thank you. Aisha Duba is on the chat. We just need to unmute her. Her name is Aisha Duba.
We've been able to unmute her. Sorry, we appreciate that you have very many people. We have over 1,000 people who have registered to attend this webinar. So there are some people who are trying to join and they are unable to. We are getting rid of the AI note takers so that we create more space. And as Gadoni said, if you're coming from one institution, we ask if you could please kindly use one machine so that we allow more people to join. We do hope that this demonstrates interest to NEMA and KENTRADE and to encourage them to have an in-person meeting, especially for those people in the different regions that they have clustered them.
Okay. Aisha, your camera and microphone are enabled. The floor is yours. apologies for that once more. We are switching her speaking options and she will be able to speak in a few minutes. Okay, so as Aisha is setting up her microphone, we will share another video just again to have you appreciate what is happening. So we apologize for the technical issue that's happening, but we want to assure you that we're committed to ensuring that you get all the communication that you're able to get from NEMA today. And I will reiterate that, can you hear me now? So I just want to apologize for the, yes, we can hear you, Aisha. Sorry for that. Aisha, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. You can actually continue with the presentation, even as we wait for KENTRADE. Aisha, you've muted your microphone. Aisha, do you need any support?
Hi.
Hi.
Okay. Let me share my screen.
Okay. It's loading. It should be on shortly. Yes, we can see your screen now.
You can see it.
Yes.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Apologies for earlier. I had an issue with the microphone. And my name is Aisha Duba, compliance officer from the EPR division at NEMA. And I'm going to do a very short presentation on the regulation. We have onboarded the import requirements on the National Single Window System of the KENTRADE system, and someone from KENTRADE will join us, I hope soon, to take you through the application process. And while we wait for him, let me do a very brief presentation on the EPR regulation. So,
sorry, Aisha, they're asking if you could speak up a bit.
Okay.
Thank you.
Is that fine?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So let's just go to the presentation. Extended producer responsibility. So this regulation is an environmental policy approach that holds producers who are manufacturers, importers, distributors, refillers, repackagers, and so on and so forth, responsible for the entire life cycle of their product, including post-consumer waste management. Under this regulation, producers are required to take responsibility for collecting, recycling, or safe disposal of their products at the end of its useful life. EPR targets products that contribute heavily to waste and pollution. Thus, the regulation aims to significantly improve waste management systems. Legal basis, this regulation, the EPR regulation, is anchored on the Sustainable Waste Management Act of 2022, specifically Section 13(1), which mandates all producers to bear extended producer responsibility, and 2, which allows producers to bear the responsibility either individually or collectively. So producer is defined in the Sustainable Waste Management Act as an individual or an entity that introduces products and packaging into the Kenyan market, either through manufacturing, importing, refilling, repackaging, brand ownership, and so on and so forth. And then we have general penalties as in the Act, and also appeals. Here is a bit of a background on the EPR regulation. The journey towards the gazettement of the EPR regulation dates back all the way to 2007, when we had an attempted ban on plastic bags, which did not go through due to opposition. And then we had another attempt in 2010, which was also not successful. And then finally, the ban on plastic bags went through in 2017. And through the ban, NEMA started issuing clearances for plastic that is intended for primary industrial use, and specifically for products that had no alternative packaging. And yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes, we
Aisha,
can
we
hear
can
you.
hear you and we can see. I think for those of you who are not
Okay,
able
okay.
to see or hear her, please try and log out and log back in.
Okay.
You can proceed.
So after the ban on plastic bags, we had a problem with PET also in the country. And in order to address that, through a framework of cooperation between the Ministry of Environment, NEMA, and the private sector, PETCO was formed to manage PET waste, which is one of the voluntary schemes, the first voluntary EPR scheme that emerged in 2018. And in 2020, KEPRO was formed as a result of a negotiated compliance between NEMA and the bakery sector to manage resultant plastic waste from the bakery sector. And these voluntary schemes were given conditions that they should have take-back schemes. So from this take-back schemes, the condition on take-back schemes is where the EPR now originates. So up to 2020, we had PETCO and KEPRO, and PETCO later changed to PAKPRO, where they increased their scope. And these two voluntary schemes were facing numerous challenges due to lack of a legislative framework mandating the establishment. And in order to address that, the government came up with the National Sustainable Waste Management Policy of 2021, which was followed by the Sustainable Waste Management Act of 2022, which domesticated the requirements of the policy. And now in 2024, from the Sustainable Waste Management Act of 2022, the EPR regulation was gazetted on the 4th of November 2024. Now we have been implementing it for like more than a year, almost 2 years now. Next, we have objectives of the regulation. The object and purpose of this regulation are, number one, mandates producers to manage the life cycle of their products and packaging, including post-consumer waste. 2, provide a framework for the establishment and operation of mandatory EPR schemes. 3, operationalize the polluter pays principle. So these are the 3 objectives of the EPR regulation. Application of this regulation. So this regulation applies to products which are goods and packaging that are listed in the first schedule. And these are products that negatively impact the environment, human and animal health. They're also products that pose challenge in reuse, recycle, and recovery. And they're also products that have high management cost at the post-consumer stage. It also applies to producers of products in the first schedule, who are importers, manufacturers, refillers, repackagers, rebranders, and so on and so forth. And it also applies to extended producer responsibility schemes, both individual schemes and collective EPR schemes. Let me come back to this later. And in the regulation, specifically sub-regulation 5, we have 10 obligations of a producer. And the first one is that they have to register with NEMA, whereby they get issued with the producer registration certificate. Next is establishing a take-back scheme, set up and register an individual EPR scheme or join a collective EPR scheme. Provide the NEMA with reports of the status of the implementation of the EPR obligation. Design products and packaging materials that minimize waste, facilitate reuse, recycling, recovery, and use of secondary raw materials where possible, and are environmentally friendly at the end of their useful life. Next is their organizational and physical responsibility for the management of their post-consumer products. Provide consumers with information and raise awareness on management of post-consumer products. Carry out product life cycle assessment in relation to their products for enhancing environmental sustainability. And finally, put in place circular economy initiatives and other measures to reduce impact of their products on health and environment. So these are the 10 obligations of a producer in this regulation. So those 10 obligations, a producer can opt to execute them either individually or collectively through a producer responsibility organization. So for PROs, now for the producers who decide to execute their obligations collectively in a scheme, they will have to execute those obligations and in sub-regulation 5 and additionally in sub-regulation 17 as follow. Undertake market development for the secondary raw material markets of the products under their scope. Establish research and development programs with registered research institutions on emerging technologies to improve material recovery, removal of pollutants, and effective systems for handling post-consumer products. And also, they will execute any other obligations set by NEMA for the purpose of ensuring compliance with this regulation. I think I will stop there and then I will go back to the products in the first schedule. Just a moment, please. Sorry about that. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. And we can see your screen.
Okay. Okay. Just a moment. Yeah, so these are the products that are set out in the first schedule. And for importers, we have onboarded the implementation for the import certificate requirements on the national single window system that is managed by KENTRADE right now. And this had taken effect on the 15th of March. And as mentioned earlier, someone from KENTRADE will take you all through the application process through the system. Number 2, hazardous products packaging. And number 3, we have electrical and items. So for category 1, 2, and 5, the fees charged is 150 shillings per item, as you can see here. And for category 1, 2, and 5, the per item will be charged on the standard packaging, which is the secondary packaging or the bulk packaging. So per item will be charged on the bulk packaging for category 1, 2, and 5. And for category 3 and 4, it will be charged on standalone items. So I think Gadoni is
Yes, Joseph is in the call. Joseph Mukite, you can, and I think Aisha wants to hand over to you. You can unmute your microphone, Joseph. Joseph Mukite,
yes.
yes.
Yes, good morning. This is just.
Good morning. Hello,
Yes, I'm.
Joseph.
Can he? Yes, I'll be ready shortly, but I think you can do a Q&A before we begin with KENTRADE side.
Okay, so Aisha, I think there is a few questions for Nema. So, ladies and gentlemen, Joseph is from KENTRADE, and he will be taking us through how to apply for the EPR Import Certificate on the KENTRADE system. So, Aisha, I think you can read a few of the questions. We'll just highlight the ones that are for Nema, and then you can handle them. So one of the things to clarify that I think some people still would like to know, which is the charging. So could you highlight the 150 shillings and how it is to be charged?
so for the 150 shillings is charged per item, but as I have projected earlier, or should I project again?
That's okay.
Can you see it?
Yes, we can.
Yeah. So so these are the products that are set out in the first schedule, okay? So we have from category 1 to 5. So from these categories, you have to pick where your product falls. And for now, category 1, 2, and 5, now which is for packaging for non-hazardous products, hazardous products packaging, and non-packaging items. So for these 3 categories, the 150 is for category 3 and 4, the 150 is charged per item. So for the electronics and for the automobiles, the 150 is charged per item. I hope that is clear.
Okay, so then to further expound on the request for clarification on 150, Tom Karan is asking if the 150 is being charged per item of the box, then he says we may not have the number of boxes at the IDF stage. And so then then the next question he asks is, assuming I have one full container with one item of 1,000 cartons, how much should he pay? So the first question is having the total number at IDF stage, and then how to calculate that.
At the stage where you you'll get the packing list after the IDF, right? Let's wait for Joseph to project, and then we will see which documents are required, and then we'll see at which stage you will have the packing list, or at which stage you will. But when you are making the order on your invoice, especially if you are not a first-time importer, like, can't you know how many packages are coming? You can't know at that stage.
Aisha, I think he has given us a number. He's suggesting his full container usually has 1,000 cartons, which typically would mean it would be 1,000 times 150, isn't it? Because you're charging on the bulk packaging. Hello, Aisha, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
So he's saying he usually brings in a container with 1,000 cartons inside it. It usually has 1,000 cartons, which is, I'm assuming, is his bulk packaging. So ideally, isn't it 1,000 times 150?
Yes.
Yes. So you'd pay 150,000, Tom Karan.
So in your container, if the secondary what's going on here?
We can hear you, Aisha.
Yeah, so I was saying, if in the container he has packaged, and that is for bulk packaging, he has bulk packaged his products into 1,000 cartons, the 150 will be charged per each carton. So it's going to be 150 times 1,000.
Okay. So, all right, I'll read the next question. And just to clarify, we can see all the hands. So I'll read a few questions and then shift to some of the hands that are up. But all our questions are being posted on the Q&A box. So kindly, if you have any question and you'd like to send it in via text, kindly send it in on the Q&A platform. The next question is from Chandi, which is, how do we identify what a bulk packaging is for importers of medical devices? I think this is a specific request to that sector, and I'll just combine it with another question from the pharmaceutical, which is, why are they categorized as hazardous, from Sky Healthcare? Aisha, did you get my question? Aisha? Aisha, can you hear us?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Shall I repeat my questions?
Yeah, repeat your questions.
Okay, so this is from the medical sector. So one is, could you identify what bulk packaging is specifically for importers of medical devices? That's from Channi. And then the pharmaceutical sector would like to ask why they are categorized as hazardous packaging.
So for the packaging, as I have stated earlier, we are charging the 150 on the secondary packaging. So not the primary packaging. I don't know how pharmaceuticals are packaged, but not the first packaging, the second packaging. So the secondary packaging is where the 150 will be charged.
All right. Thank you. So I will read one more question, and then the following people whose hands are up, we can have your microphones unmuted. So we'll start with Chebet Sharon, Dr. Shroff, and then I'll just choose the first three people, and then Tom Karan also, because you had answered another question. So I'll just, as their microphones are being unmuted, I'll ask a question from the paper sector, which is, are you charging per GSM or the number of papers that a paper manufacturer would be importing?
First of all, what is a GSM? And do the papers come in packaging, right? They're packaged.
Okay.
And so for the papers also goes, 150 is for the secondary packaging. So if you are packaging it in primary packaging and secondary packaging, so the 150 will go for will be charged as per your secondary packagings.
Okay. Thank you. So just to mention that we'll be having Chebet Sharon, Dr. Shroff, and Karan speaking next. So once your microphone is unmuted, kindly unmute for yourself. So Chebet Sharon, you had a question?
Yeah, thanks, Tim, for the presentation. My name is Chebet Sharon. I work for a clinical research organization, and looking at Duba's presentation on the first schedule of products that we need to, that the EPR, will be required. I was just wondering, do we have exemption for products that are majorly for clinical trial use? Things to do with investigational products, will we need the EPR? Because looking clearly at the first schedule of products, it's not clear whether we will have these exemptions. So just want to know whether we have exemption for such kind of products that need to be used purposely for clinical researches. Thank you.
Okay, let's also hear from Dr. Shroff.
Thank you. Thank you, Gathani. Thank you, Joyce. And Aisha Duba, excellent presentation, very lucid and very, very comprehensive. I have got two questions. Maybe I may ask supplementary questions as I hear your answer. Number one, if we import a sugar container, is sugar applicable for EPR import certification? That is my first question. And my second question is, if it is a 20-feeter full container load of a particular ingredient, a food ingredient in jerry cans of 25 kilos or 30 kilos, around 1,000 jerry cans are there in that 20-feet container. How will you calculate the Kenya shilling 150? Is it for the full container load of 20-feeter, or is it for individual jerry cans, that is 1,000 in numbers, multiplied by 150 Kenya shillings? I am all ears to hear your answer, Aisha. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Shroff. And we'll take one last question before Aisha answers from Tom Karan. Okay. As Tom Karan's microphone is being unmuted, maybe Aisha, you can answer those two questions. So the first one is from the medical sector, and then there's Dr. Schroff's on just breaking it down in terms of costing.
So let me start with the first question, where she was asking if they are exempted. I would like to say that there are no exemptions on the EPR regulation. There is no exemption, any exemption currently, but we are open to receiving proposals from you, from producers. You can write to NEMA. We can discuss how you want your product to be charged. So for the first question, kindly, there is no exemption right now. So, but I would advise you to write to NEMA and explain your situation and propose how you want your product to be charged. Next one, for the sugar in a container. So I would like clarification. Is the sugar coming in a vessel, like no packaging in the sugar? It's coming just with the container. And is it packaged in the country? Like, can you clarify on that?
Dr. Schroff?
You can unmute Dr. Schroff.
Okay, Dr. Schroff, you can unmute yourself.
But Aisha, I can provide clarity because I know he's my member. This is sugar. It's not bulk sugar. This is not coming for repacking. It is sugar that is coming for, it is already in sacks. Some come 25, some come 50 kg, some come larger.
So if it comes in a sack, the sugar, I think 150 will be charged per sack.
Per sack. Okay.
Yeah.
Correct.
And for the jerry cans, 150 will be charged per the jerry can.
If the jerry cans are not in a carton, isn't it?
Yeah, if they're not in a carton. So if it's in a carton, it will be charged. If let's say you have like 6 jerry cans in a carton, 150 will be per that carton. But if the jerry can is like a standalone jerry can, not packaged in another carton, 150 will be per jerry can.
Madam, excuse me. I was unable to unmute myself, but now somebody in the ICT has unmuted me. I want to answer the first question. Sugar is in 50 kilos bag, and one container contains around 500 bags. One full container load of 20 feet contains 500 bags of sugar, 50 kilos each. It's in bags. It's not in ready-made package form. And this is for industrial use, strictly for F&B manufacturing only. I'm all ears to hear your answer, Aisha. Please.
So for that case, if the sugar comes packaged in sacks already, the 50 kg sacks and so on, the 150 will be charged per the sack.
That means it is 150 multiplied by 500 bags.
Yes.
Okay. Can I make a comment here, Aisha?
Yeah.
Please allow me, because previously, when the EPR regulations were in the formative stages, I'm talking of 2.5 to 3 years ago, sugar was exempted.
Okay.
Please correct me if I'm wrong.
This regulation, maybe you are sugar is exempted where to pay tax, or where is sugar exempted?
From the EPR import certification. From KENTRADE exercises. Oh, I'm not correct.
Yeah, that is not correct. EPR currently, the regulation does not provide for any exemption.
Understood. I heard you. I heard you very loud and clear. So even sugar is not exempted and it is chargeable.
Yes.
Okay, understood, Aisha. Aisha, speaking about the jerry cans, as you said, if they are in loose form, standalone, and if they are 1,000, it is 150 shillings multiplied by 1,000 in that full container load. Am I correct?
Yes,
but if
now
we suppose tell the supplier, which is an overseas supplier, to package it into a condensed unit, then definitely the packaging cost will be incurred by the manufacturer who is in Kenya.
Okay. Yeah, that is okay. If you can condense the product and package it in one big packaging, that is also fine. That will be charged 150. So actually,
That
we are
will be charged
encouraging less
150.
packaging. Yeah, we are encouraging.
Irrespective, okay, Aisha, excuse me, irrespective of the configuration, whether it is 6 multiplied by X or whether it is 12 or 24 multiplied by X, it will be charged 150 per configuration per package. Am I correct in my understanding?
Yes, if it's packaged in one packaging, in one box, let's say one box. So let's say you have six cans in one box, that box would be 150.
What about the boxes replaced by a shrink wrapper, a big shrink wrap pallet? Will that be 150 per pallet?
No, pallets, no, we're not charging per pallet.
Aisha, okay, international norms, especially the Association of International Juices and Nectars in Netherlands, they have a standard for packaging for their exports to various countries around the world. And that packaging is 6 or 4 by 230 kilos or 240 kilos on a pallet. The drums are kept and then they are shrink wrapped. How would you account for that? Is it 150 per pallet or 150 per drum because it is in a condensed form? How will you account for that?
So a pallet is a tertiary packaging. If it's not even a packaging, a pallet, and a shrink wrap is a tertiary packaging, and we are charging it on secondary packaging. Before something is shrink wrapped, it has a primary packaging, and then it's packaged in a box, and then it's wrapped. It's shrink wrapped. So the shrink wrap is the tertiary packaging, and we are charging on the secondary packaging.
So the secondary packaging is the drum.
Yes, the drum.
Correct. So you will be charging per drum 150 shillings, 150 shillings, etc., etc. Am I correct?
Yes. Yes, if that's your secondary packaging.
And then, Aisha, throw some light on the primary packaging. What is primary packaging then?
Primary packaging. Okay, let's say oil, cooking oil.
No, Aisha. Extrapolating this example only, like for example, a drum is a secondary packaging. The shrink wrapped pallet.
What is in the drum? What is in the drum?
The contents may be a pulp or a concentrate.
A pipe.
Pulp for making juices.
Oh,
pulp. Pulp.
A pulp,
concentrate.
Concentrate. So is that the primary packaging?
Right. So
that is a primary packaging.
Yeah. So the drum is the secondary packaging, right?
Okay, and you charge as per the regulations on the secondary packaging only. Am I correct in my understanding, Aisha?
What's happening?
Hello? You are inaudible, Aisha.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Now I can hear you. According to the regulation, you charge on the secondary packaging. Am I correct in my understanding?
Yes, and here, in your case, the drum is the secondary packaging, right?
Understood. So then it is the individual drum.
Yes. 150, 1 drum, 150.
Or 1 jerrycan, 150. Am I correct?
Yes, if it's packaged, if it's a standalone jerrycan, 150.
Okay, but if the jerrycans are in a box of 4 or 6, then one box is 150. Am I correct?
Yes, you're correct.
Okay, thank you very much, Aisha. Thank you very much. Thank you for clearing the cobwebs in my mind.
Okay, thank you.
I really appreciate. Thank you, Joyce Wavelu, and thank you, Gathoni, once again, million times. Appreciate it. Appreciate it highly.
Thank you, Dr. Shroff.
Okay.
Gadoni, maybe the next ones? We finish with the hands that are
Yeah,
up
so
before.
yes, but just before we close the item on that 150, Aisha, there's just a few more questions around that same charging system, which is, could you clarify? I know you've mentioned it even in this answer, but just distinctly, the question being asked is, if I import packaging items for export, so the material does not actually get used in Kenya, if I am importing raw materials, I know Dr. Shroff has mentioned about it, but could you clarify on raw materials, finished product, as well as the difference between 150 for electronics? So in this case, someone has asked, if I import for a car, I will pay 150, and yet the car is worth millions. This is Michael. And 150 for a box of products worth 10,000, because the box of products is the secondary packaging. So could you distinguish that as well?
Let me start with the one for the car. I would like you to understand that this regulation is not a regulation that we don't charge the 150 based on the value of the product. This regulation is a regulation that is meant to manage waste. So the 150 on the car and the 150 on the other products is okay, because also when it comes to waste, how many years does it take for a car to be waste? It takes a very long time. But these other products, let's say the juice, the jerry cans, the diapers, it takes a very short time. It has a very, very short life cycle. It becomes waste very fast. So this regulation is for managing waste. It's not charged. The 150 is not charged on the value of the product. The question on someone who is importing and exporting. I think we had the same question on the last webinar that I was on, and I really do not understand that. Like, it comes in and leaves. Like, why does it have to come through Kenya if it's not being utilized in the country? So I do not understand that, because EPR does not cover export. We only cover importations. And if a product, that's still very unique. And someone else had the same question on transiting goods. And please, I would like to say that kindly, for scenarios like that, kindly write to us and explain to us your scenario or your situation, so that we can know how to advise. But for now, I honestly, I don't understand.
Maybe Gadoni, whoever has that question, could you mind putting your hand up to clarify to Aisha? She's right. We've had another webinar where she was asked the same question. Zakira, is that you?
That's Rama Hatib.
Rama.
Yes, Rama Hatib.
Do they have their hand up? Because maybe you can just unmute. I think Rama, if you hear us, kindly just unmute so that you can provide clarity. Aisha is right. That question has been asked before in a previous webinar. And I think NEMA did ask for entities in this situation that are either reprocessing product locally or bringing in material to process and then export again at the SEZs or EPZs to please reach out to NEMA. So maybe Gadoni, move on to the next until Rama puts their hand up. Okay, Rama, I see you.
Yeah, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
So I was just asking, is EPZ affected because we are importing
Sorry, Rama, kindly repeat.
Our export
You're
is
breaking up.
100% export.
Kindly
We
repeat your
are
question.
importing
Yes.
raw material. we are importing raw materials and garment accessories. These are like buttons, zippers, but all used in manufacturing garments. For the packaging material is for exports only. So are we affected?
Okay, that is clear.
Uh,
Aisha, you had that?
yeah, I had that, and yes,
Okay.
that is affected for the 150. So the only difference here is that if you are in the EPZ, if you are exporting your products, 100% of your products, because I understand some manufacturers at the EPZ, they export 80% and sell 20 in Kenya and something like that. But if you are exporting 100%, the only difference is that you do not have to be part of a producer registration responsibility organization. But the 150 is still applicable here because you are importing products into the country.
They are not used locally. They're not going to the markets. So why are we being charged?
The 150 is for every product that is coming into the country. And to my understanding is if you import raw materials and manufacture at the EPZ, there's still waste that is coming from the manufacturing process. So the import fee applies to that too. But if you are manufacturing at the EPZ and exporting your products out of the country, you don't have to be part of a producer responsibility organization.
For this case, we are not supposed to apply the certificate from NEMA. We just pay just through KENTRADE.
Now, for your case, you're just supposed to register as a producer, and then and then you apply for the import certificate every time you are importing. But you don't need to be part of the PRO.
So for each and every packages we import, we pay 150 for every package.
Yes.
It should be very expensive for us. Sometimes we import a lot of cartons with so many accessories. And yet they are not going to be used locally.
Yes. Now it depends on the packaging. So, but the EPR fees, the 150 is charged per item, and for your case, I think it's secondary packaging. You will have to pay the 150 for your secondary packaging during importation, and it is the certificate is issued per consignment. So every time you are importing into the country, you will need to apply for the EPR Import Certificate.
We are going to chase investors in this country. We are not going to look for this. For paying for something which is not going to be used in the country, we are just paying out. For this one, this year they will complain a lot.
Drama, this 150 shillings, it's supposed to go to the Environmental Restoration Fund. It's supposed to constructed and manage waste management infrastructures. And to my understanding, even if you are exporting, during manufacturing, you have residual waste, and this residual waste goes to our dump sites. So the 150 shillings, all importers are required to pay the import fees and get the EPR import certificate.
Okay.
And like I said before, we are open. NEMA is open to receiving proposals. Anyone that has a proposal on how they want the items to be charged, on any ideas, any proposal you have, kindly write to NEMA, and discuss and we will deliberate and we will get back to you. So if you have any proposal, we are open to all proposals. You can just write to NEMA with your proposal and your issue and how you want your product, your products to be charged.
Okay. Rama, is that okay? I think we can listen to Parag, Ralhan, Victor Odongo, and then after these questions, we will jump into
Hello,
the
still
KRA.
Rama.
I mean, sorry, yes, Rama.
We still have a question. One container of fabrics, we usually import like 700 rolls times 150. This almost come to 105,000. Seriously. For accessories, we import like one container has almost 400 cartons. 400 cartons times 150. This is almost 60,000. We're going to chase these investors. This will be very expensive. We have never even paid for any government institution like this. For EPZ, I would suggest we pay per consignment, but per package, it will be difficult for us.
Thank you, Rama. I think the authority has taken note, and I'd like to have Parag ask his question, and then we'll have Victor Odongo, and then after Victor Odongo, we will have Joshua, and then James Kipkoech. So I'll repeat the order. We'll have Parag, then Victor Odongo, and then we will have Joshua and James Kipkoech.
Hi, Gautami. How are you?
Hi, fine, thank you.
Thank you so much, firstly, for allowing me to ask a question. I would like to ask a very generic and a basic question, which I think will be applicable for all of us concerned over here in this meeting. My question is, I have just two questions. Number one is, we all have a question that why are we paying it twice? These kind of fees, like for example, the import fees, EPR import fees of 150 shillings, irrespective of the packaging what we are going to pay. Okay. Then the same material when we receive in our warehouses, okay, and that outer packaging is going to go into the dustbins or the waste bins of our warehouses and factories. That will be collected by a garbage collector, which we are already paying for. Okay, so that is number one question, multiple paying twice for the same thing. Second, and the most important question is, when we as a part of, we are attached with PAKPRO, for example, or KEPRO, or any other pro, which all of us are supposed to be a part of. So when you guys are charging us, when the pros are giving us rates of per ton, for example, 7,000 shillings per ton for a plastic material to be recycled. Yeah. So my question is, when I or any importer or any manufacturer who is bringing in goods, whether it is packed in a pallet, whether it is packed in a jerrycan, whether it is packed in a carton box or in a shrink wrap, irrespective of whatever packaging it is, okay, there is a weight applicable to that. For example, shrink wrap or a plastic bag. I'm importing a product, 1,000 packaging. It has 1,000 boxes or a packaging which is shrink wrap. So that shrink wrap has a grammage which is 100 grams, let's say. Okay. So as per the EPR fees, what I'm paying to a pro, I'm supposed to pay 1,000 shillings per 7,000 shillings per ton, which translate to 100 grams, which is now 0.7 cents per ton. Okay, what I'm going to pay, sorry, per kg. So when 100 gram times 1,000 pieces are there like that, so I'm supposed to pay only 700 shillings as per the EPR fees for recycling that shrink wrap material. Okay, whereas as per NEMA, now I have to pay 1,000 times 150 shillings, that is 150,000 shillings for recycling the same material which Pro is going to charge me 700 shillings. So how does that make sense? Number one. And number two example is a good example of carton boxes. For example, when I'm importing 1,000 cartons in a container, okay, and the box's outer box is made of recyclable material, okay, which as per EPR fees, you are not supposed to pay anything. Okay, because it's made of recyclable material, then still yet we have to pay 150 shillings to NEMA for that. For what? What is the reason and logic behind that?
Thank you, Parag, for your question. Aisha will take 2 more questions and then you can respond. So Victor Odongo, you can unmute. And then after Victor, we'll have Joshua and then James Kipkoech. Victor Odongo, could you unmute? As Victor is unmuting, Joshua, can you unmute? Joshua, you can unmute yourself.
Hello, Joyce.
This is Gadoni.
We can hear you,
Okay.
Victor. You can
But
proceed.
Joyce is here.
Sorry. Hi, Kadani. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
My name is Victor from Alpha Medical. Now, I have 2 questions. Number one, I'm currently bringing in 3 by 40-foot containers. Each container has 4,700 cartons. And now you're imposing that we should pay a fee of 150 shillings per carton. Now that means that I have to pay 2,115,000 for only these 3 containers that I'm coming in. Now, this definitely is going to raise the cost of healthcare in the country. And with that, I've not even factored in the cost for the PROs. That is just the EPR fee. I've not even factored the cost for the PROs. This is definitely punitive. I can say that it's very punitive for the healthcare. And number two, where are our member bodies like the Pharmacy and Poisons Board of Kenya and the Medical Association of Kenya, MEDA?
Victor, thank you. Let's hear one more question from Joshua. Okay, as Joshua is unmuting, James Kipkech. So Aisha, maybe you can just respond to those 2. Then Joshua, you're able to unmute?
Hi, this is Joyce. This is Kipkoech speaking.
Yes, Karibu.
You can hear me.
Yes, Kipkech, we can hear you.
Yeah, sorry, I was just reading into these things that are raised on this, and I work for Resources Africa, and we are doing a CKD importation and assembly. So I have 3 concerns here for the EPR fees. Number one, and then sorry for maybe I skipped this, so you will correct me if I've just raised it again here. So number one is that where was the call meeting or engagement done in regards to this before implementation? And the reason why I'm mentioning this one here
is for these costs that importers will incur on top of the normal cost that they will be paying in terms of the taxes. These two the implementation of these EPR fees. Normally, notices give people timelines where we can say now from the month of whatever it is, a couple of months, that this thing will come into effect, so that we plan our pipeline in terms of our orders. So you need to readjust your prices and all that, and that is the concern. Were we given sufficient time? And if it is, then when is that? The third one, I know most of the my participants here, they've just been asking, and you will also excuse me if I also ask the same question in regards to now, for instance, our vehicles here. If we import like one lot of probably an F series is probably the vehicle like an FRR. A lot has 12 vehicles, so we normally declare as 12 vehicles, and maybe it comes up the 12 vehicles built by, let's say, 100 cases of the CKD. So the question is based on the number of items or the number of packages that builds the 12 vehicles. So those are the concerns that I have. The one is about at what point are you collecting these EPR fees? Because 99% of our importation are actually to our bonded warehouse. So meaning we do an IM7 entries, that is our warehousing entry into the bonded warehouse. And then after assembly now, that is when we can do a removal entry. So which is the IM4. So the question is it at the point of importation into the bonded warehouse, or is it at the point of so I need those four clarifications so that we understand exactly how we can deal with this thing. Thank you.
Thank you. Can hear one more question from Joshua, and then Aisha, you can respond.
Can
Joshua,
I respond to that?
Microphone.
Can I respond to
no
that
problem.
first, because it's so many
No
questions
problem.
and I've forgotten the other one.
Okay.
And I didn't get much, so I have a network issue, so I didn't get what James was saying, Mingi. But for the stakeholder sensitization, yes, we did the webinar. When was it? Last week on Friday. Yes, we did the stakeholder sensitization before the go live, and we are going to have other physical stakeholder sensitization meetings, and we'll actually have one tomorrow and the other one on Thursday. So, and we'll do others in Kisumu and Mombasa and other regions. But we did the sensitization, and we're still doing physical ones. So we'll have one tomorrow and the other one on Thursday. And what was his other question for the vehicle? I don't know if I got this correctly. They're importing motor vehicle parts.
Yes.
Yes. Now for the motor vehicle parts, you'll have to pay for the parts per packaging. So if it was an actual vehicle, you'll pay 150 per the vehicle, but for the parts, the secondary packaging.
Okay. And the question on the medical, there was a question on medical. Aisha? So this is the question that he started by saying, one is, what is the representation from the pharmacy board and the medical board? And then he said that they're importing about 4,700 items in a container. So that cost is going to really affect the cost of healthcare. So if you could just touch on his question. Aisha, your microphone is
So
muted.
for the pharmaceutical, the packaging still goes for standard packaging, but for the issue of the issue of the increase in the price of the medicine and every one of you write to us, explain to NEMA your situation and propose how you want your products to be charged.
Okay. I'll ask the next questions from Mr. Rono, and then from Mohammed Kasim, and from Janet Kisingo. So we have Mr. Rono, Mohammed Kasim, and Janet Kisingo. Maybe before they ask, there was a clarification on the when you're charging the warehousing. So this is from Mr. Kipkech. So he wanted to know whether the costs are happening at warehousing or before. Warehousing or at warehousing stage for the point of collection. Okay, as that is coming up, we can listen to Mohammed Kasim. You can unmute yourself.
Yeah, are you getting me?
Yes.
Yeah, my question is, I wanted a clarification of end of life motor vehicle. What do you mean by end of life of motor vehicles? Is it a term, another term of used motor vehicles or what?
Okay, thank you for that. Then we can have
and the second question is,
yes.
second question is, we are talking of the packages. We have these used motor vehicle spares, which we are not normally import, but they come in loose form. How are we going to handle that and the part of the prices?
Okay. So those two questions?
Yes, please.
Okay. Mr. Rono, should be unmuted. Okay. I'll choose the next number of people. So we have Kenstar Plastic, Atima Letitia in that order, Suraj Dhanani, Janet Kisingo. So after Mr. Rono, we'll have those people, Kenstar Plastic, Atima Letitia, and Suraj Dhanani. Mr. Rono, are you able to unmute? Okay, maybe we can have the next set of questions from technical team, if you could unmute Janet Kisingo, Atima Latesha, and Suraj Dhanani.
Gadoni, I think Anastasia is in the meeting. Can you check if she's on here? I can't see her.
Okay, we'll check and then we'll will allow her access. Okay, as those people are being unmuted, I will read a few of the questions, but maybe you can just speak towards the vehicle industry, Anastasia. Sorry, Aisha.
Can you please repeat the question, Aki? I am very overwhelmed here and I am doing several things at the same time. Please repeat the question so that I can answer.
Okay, so he had asked about the question on his packaging material for spare parts as well as for vehicle parts. But I think you can also repeat your question, Mohammed. Mohammed Kasim, could we unmute him to repeat his question?
Yeah, my question here is the word end of life motor vehicle. What does that mean? Is it used or what? Secondly, we have these used spare parts. Normally, they have been packed in a container in a loose form. How are you going to charge them? And then lastly, I've forgotten that we have the category of returning residents. Will they be exempted?
The category of?
Returning residents. People coming back from diaspora, coming back home. They normally come back with their items. Are they also being charged on those goods that they will be coming with? Those will be personal effects. Will they be exempted or what?
No, when you apply, when you are coming back from abroad with your personal items, you don't have to get an IDF, a certificate of conformity. No, you don't need that.
That we don't need?
You don't need to apply for it because you're just coming back with your personal items.
Oh, thank you. So that one will be exempted.
Yeah, because that is not like you're not importing things and going through the entire importation process, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that does not, it doesn't apply to that. And for the end of life motor vehicle, that does not actually apply because we don't allow importation of end of life motor vehicle in the country. So for that category, it's just motor vehicles and just motor vehicles and automobiles and aircrafts and locomotives. So just ignore the end of life part. It's just
okay.
And for the spare parts, for the spare parts, it comes in boxes, right?
No, these are used one. You know, the used one, they just pour them into a container. They come in loose form.
Yeah, if it comes in loose form and it does not have a packaging, it will be 150. So if it just comes in a container, like in the vessel, like with no packaging, you'll just be charged 150 because now the container would be your actually primary packaging, right?
All right.
Yeah.
That is it. That is it. The container will be the package there.
Yeah. If the container is your primary packaging.
What about if the tires, like the tires, the brand new tires? We normally also pack them into container. They are not packed in the box or any packages. That one will be calculated as the container.
But tires are wrapped. There is something shiny that tires are wrapped in. Right?
No, others are not. Others are not. Others are not. They just, the real tires as it is what they pack them in the container.
Okay, then that would be 150.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Can we have Mr. Rono? I think you can now unmute yourself. Apologies for that.
Gadoni, can you check whether Joseph is ready because he's supposed to take the stakeholders through the application process and time is moving very fast.
Okay.
Can you check on him?
Have those. let's have the 3 questions and then we can take a break from questions and then have Mr. Joseph. So we'll have Mr. Rono, we'll have Janet Kisingo and Suraj Dhanani.
Gadhoni, kindly also
Yes.
read the question Parag asked. He's typed it out in the chat. I don't think Aisha responded to it. Just once the 3 are done, just before
Okay.
Joseph comes on. Yeah, it's in the chat.
Okay, I've seen it. Thank you very much. Mr. Rono, you can unmute yourself. As Mr. Rono, can you hear us? You should be able to unmute yourself now. But let me ask Parag's question as Rono is unmuting himself. So Parag wanted to your clarification on why we are paying twice for recycling fees. So why the 150 shillings for the import fee per packaging, and then later, once we dispose the same outer packaging in our bin to be collected by the local garbage collector, so that they then pay for the local garbage collector. And the next question is also if you have a fixed recycling rate slab per ton.
Gadhoni, repeat that question for the garbage and stuff.
Why are we paying twice for recycling? First, EPR import fees, that's the 150 shillings per package. And then later, once we dispose the same outer packaging in our bin to be collected by the local garbage collector. Do I read the next question from him? Aisha?
To respond to that, as I mentioned before, this 150 shillings is going to the restoration fund. It's going to manage residual waste. It's going to help construct waste infrastructures and manage them in the country. So the waste that is collected by the garbage collector goes to the waste infrastructures that we have in the country and will be managed by that 150 shillings. So that is where the 150 shillings come in. And I hope that answers his question.
Okay, thank you. And then the next part of his question, Mr. Rono, kindly try and unmute yourself. So he asks, if you have a fixed recycling rate slab per ton for recycling the goods based on different categories as per our EPR monthly charges, so then why are we being charged a flat rate of 150 shillings for any type of packaging being used? For example, as per the EPR fee rates, if we use paper carton box that is made of 100% recyclable, the EPR charges are 0. And this is another question that has been asked in the chat is, we are importing recycled material or recyclable material, then why are we being charged? So if we're using plastic packaging, then they are charged based on the price per ton. Then why doesn't the same logic apply to the packaging on import fees, wherein if the outer packaging is made of 100% recyclable material, then it should be exempted. And if it is plastic weighing 100 grams to 10 kgs, then we should pay as per the government PRO right recycling rates instead of paying a flat 150 Kenya shillings.
Gadhoni, that question
Yes.
is can you simplify it, because I don't understand what their question is.
So his question is, when you pay EPR fees, there's a rate card depending on the packaging material. So if it's paper, if it's plastic, if it's glass, there's a different rate depending on the recyclability of the product. So in a similar manner, why isn't the EPR import fee, why doesn't it also have a rate card depending on whether a material is more recyclable than another?
Gathoni,
Yes.
it's Anastasia.
Good morning, Anastasia. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning. In response to that, I would say that since the law is in place, and that is what it provides for, and laws are living documents, meaning that after a certain period of implementation, they are reviewed. That differentiated application will be considered in the review or in the amendment of the regulations.
Okay.
But for now, we just go the way it is.
Okay. Understood. Mr. Rono, we're working to unmute you on our side, but if you are able to unmute, kindly just keep trying. In the meantime, let's listen to Suraj Thanani and Janet Kisingo, and then after Mr. Rono, we'll have the presentation from Joseph.
Sure. Good morning, everyone. I'm going through all the questions, and my question is pretty similar to other questions people are asking. So we manufacture plastic pipes, and our raw material comes in plastic pellets, right? So little pellets. Now, I just would like to run through this example because I think it answers a lot of people's questions here. So the plastic pellets come in 25 kilo bags, okay? And those bags are recyclable. We would then assume that the 25 kilo bags are primary packaging, as per the logic explained. Thereafter, the 25 kilo bags are packed onto pallets of 55 pallets per bag. So in a container, there's 18 pallets. And they're packed by stacking and obviously using heavy duty shrink wrap to keep it all together. And that we would recognize that as our secondary packaging, right? So primary packaging is the 25 kilo bag, and secondary packaging is 1.375 tons on a pallet, which consists of 55 bags. So again, just some clarity on what the 150 shillings would be charged on. Is it the 990 bags of 25 kilos per container, or would it be the secondary packaging as we see it of 18 pallets per container at 2,700 shillings per container? So that's the question that we had. The second part of the question is, it's come into effect, I think, on the 14th, as per the notice. Is this for BL dates after the 14th, or is it for anything that arrives at the port after the 14th? So is this subject to shipments that the BL dates have not been released yet, or have already on the seas and it won't be applied to? Those are the two questions I have.
Thank you. Anastasia and Aisha, do you want to respond? Or do we take the other question from Janet?
Thank you, Gathoni. I think I can respond. I think I only had the last part that if your consignment or if you launched your IDF way before the go-live date, what happens? And where I'm seated, I'm handling such issues. I would say that, before we onboarded this EPR import requirement on the KENTRADE system, it was being implemented through the e-citizen, and it's expected that everyone or every importer obtained compliance through the e-citizen. Nevertheless, for those who have not done that, and they already have their consignment in the country, we are doing a letter like right now so that they are allowed to clear their consignment. Yes, but going forward, for those whose products are not captured for in the electronic single window system, they will still continue to comply on the e-citizen platform, so that we don't have double standards. We have all the importers complying with this requirement. Gathoni, I think I missed the earlier part of the question. That is what I got.
Okay. Suraj, are you able to just revisit the beginning part of your question?
Hi. Hi, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. So the first part of the question was we make plastic pipes. So our raw material is plastic pellets, small little pellets, and the primary packaging is 25 kilo bags. Okay, and we have 990 bags in a container. Then those 25 kilo bags are then packed in their secondary packaging, I would say, on a pallet of 55 bags that's got heavy duty shrink wrap on it. And in a container that would be 18 pallets. So the clarity we want is, what is the 150 shillings charged on? Is it on the 25 kilo bag, the primary packaging, or the 18 pallets, which we regard as the secondary packaging?
Thank you. I got your question quite well. I will say that we've already received proposals from the manufacturers on the importation of raw material, that they be considered at they be subjected at the pallet level, and it's under discussion. Yeah, so for now, I'm not able to conclusively tell you that the 150 will be charged on what kind of packaging, because it's a proposal that we have received and it's being discussed by our management team. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Can we have Janet? Janet Kisingo, you can unmute yourself. And Mr. Rono.
Gathoni, maybe we can have questions that have not been expressed yet, so that we don't have a repeat of questions that have been addressed. In the interest of time.
We will organize the other questions so that we cluster them. So let's just hear from these last two people. So as you ask your question, if it has been asked in a different form, kindly allow another question. But for now, let's hear Janet Kisingo. You can unmute yourself, and Mr. Ronald, and then we'll move over to Joseph to do his presentation. Janet Kisingo, are you able to ask your question? You can unmute. You have. Janet, can you hear us? Okay. As we wait for Janet, Mr. Rono. Okay. Mr. Rono, we apologize that you're unable to unmute. We can only give you the ability to unmute, but you have to unmute yourself. So I'd like us to take a break from the Q&A session and invite Joseph to do his presentation. I've seen a lot of questions on the IDF. When the IDF is actually given, the documents that are needed. So we'll address those ones specifically as Joseph is going through his presentation, and then we can proceed to the other question. So Joseph, as you set up, I'll just go through some of the IDF questions, and once you're ready, you can start. So some of the questions, like from Laban Mutai, is we already have import entries whose IDFs were done before NEMA hold was introduced. Now the entries are currently on hold. So can you send a memo to KRA and ask them to release all these entries, please? I think, Anastasia, if you could address that. What happens to the import entries whose IDFs were already done before the NEMA, before the 14th, but now they are currently being held?
Gathoni, I think she's answered that. She said it's on her desk right now. She's processing it. She has said she's working on it.
The answers.
She said she's working on it. She's processing it.
Thank you for
they
that.
will be cleared. She has committed to that. She's working on that.
All right. Okay, so Joseph, can we have you do your presentation as we take some time to tally all the questions that have been put?
Joseph, can you hear us? Joseph from KENTRADE?
Yes, I can hear you. Am I audible?
Okay, you're audible.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I think we've heard from NEMA, so let's look at what goes on in the system and what will be happening in the system. I'll try to share my screen. Let me know whether it's visible on your end. So is my screen visible?
It's coming up. Nothing is showing yet.
Still not
Joseph, yeah, Joseph, you're still not able to see it.
But now it's time.
I've actually shared. I'm not sure what's going on, but I've actually shared my screen. Let me try to, let me stop
It's
sharing.
blank. It's just white. Yeah, just do it again. Yeah, yeah.
How about now?
Nothing.
Any progress? Anything yet on your side?
It's just blank. Are you able to maybe? Yeah, I'm not the only one. It's showing nothing. I think I'm not the only one. Gadoni, on your side?
No, still can't see anything. Maybe Joseph, you can actually just try and refresh by logging out, then logging back in, just so that we can see if that works. Okay, so as he sets up again, we can take a few more questions from the chat. Or maybe we can have a few of the hands up actually. So as I'll read 2 questions from the chat, and then I'll invite Elizabeth. You don't have a second name, so just Elizabeth. You can be unmuting. Then I'll just read one of the last questions. Elizabeth, can you speak? Okay, so Elizabeth cannot speak. Can we have Akash Kokadwa? Akash Kokadwa, you can unmute yourself. Akash Kokadwa, can you hear us? Okay, then we can try David Kanjau and Torongei Weldon and Joseph Kilonzo. David Kanjau, Torongei Weldon. Torongei Weldon, your microphone is unmuted. Could you ask your question? Torongei Weldon. David Kanjau, can unmute yourself as well.
Hello, good morning, everyone.
Oh, good morning.
My question is, we wanted clarity on the tag. Is it you are subjecting all the good or some specific materials, not all of them?
Anastasia, did you get the question?
The charges are all the products that are set out in the first schedule are subject to the EPR import certificate. And I think we can, this is Joseph is sharing his screen.
Yes, yes. So we have pinned the first schedule items on the chart, so you can just have a look on the chart. The pinned message is the first schedule. Joseph, over to you.
Yeah, I think we can proceed.
Yes, thank you.
I don't want to go into the history of KENTRADE or our background. I think most of us here are clearing agents who are already familiar with KENTRADE. So I'll jump right into the issue at hand. Also, we're looking at the time. Time has really gone by. I'll try to make this as brief as possible. My main objective here is just to show you how these payments are appearing in the system. How based on the item that you declare, you'll be able to be charged. So maybe this will give you some insight on how you are submitting your IDFs, because that will determine how much you're going to be charged in terms of the EPR levies. Let me give a bit of background on the step-by-step process, because it's important you know that for this process, I think NEMA is insisting on what we call a registration on their side. It's a payable fee of 5,000 payable one-off. I'm not sure about that, but NEMA can clarify further. Anastasia is here with us. Then after that, they call it importer registration. You'll proceed to of course, you'll proceed to submit your IDF. And during that process, thereafter, you'll come to the TFP system where you'll submit your permit. But before that, of course, you'll have to be opted in. So all opt-in requests are being undertaken by NEMA. I think NEMA, kindly share your email on the chat, the email for opting in, and also the contact of your officers, as well as their emails and their phone addresses. If you could have somebody from NEMA, please share that information on the chat so that for the benefit of stakeholders. Now, thereafter, of course, you come to the permit application, which I will try to peruse through quickly because this is an item that most of us are familiar with. For EPR, obviously, you come to the submit consignment application. So we're on the demo environment, but I'll also go to the live environment to see the EPR certificates that have been submitted since yesterday. And you can see how much the payments are bringing up in real time. I'm sure most of us are just seeing these payments theoretically based on NEMA's explanation, but we should be able to understand how much these payments are generating in real time. So, of course, for NEMA has several permits. I'm trying to look for the EPR. So we do have a bit of a challenge on the trial environment, I'm not finding the EPR, but on the live environment, under permits, you'll find EPR, which you'll select, of course, and reference your IDF, your best document, that is. Thereafter, but before you do this, ensure you have paid for the UCR. The KENTRADE charges for the UCR have to be paid for. Of course, you're already familiar with that process. So let me just use a previous example as a sample. So essentially, yep. So essentially, after choosing the EPR, the OGA, which is NEMA, and referencing your IDF and the paid UCR, you'll proceed to the next tab, which is the party tab. Fill in the importer details as well the exporter details. Proceed to the transport tab. Of course, you don't need to fill all these details because they're being pulled from the IDF. The key areas to note, even the invoice will come from the IDF. The item will come from the IDF. So no need to actually fill in anything. The only key thing you are filling in are the attachments. And for EPR, we relaxed all the mandatory attachments except the pro forma invoice. So only the pro forma invoice should be mandatory in the live environment. So all these other attachments, the COC, certification, airway bill, bill of lading, parking list, these are optional. So if you do not have them at the point of IDF submission, you do not have to submit them during this permit application. But as long as you have the pro forma invoice, you're good to go. Of course, put your terms and conditions. Summary, of course, confirm everything, validate your permit to understand where the payments are coming from, or if there's any other information you missed out, and then submit your permit. Of course, upon permit submission, you'll go to the payment tab, and then you will go to your pending payment items. The system is very much self-explanatory. Once you just open any item, you'll proceed to the payment tab. Choose the payment mode, of course, eCitizen in this day and age. Choose your currency, and then it will take you to the eCitizen page where you'll be able to choose your mode of payment, whether M-Pesa, whether bank, whichever payment mode is comfortable for you. Proceed with that. So once you have completed your payment, this permit proceeds to NEMA for approval. So the NEMA officers have been registered on the TFP system and should be ready to approve your permits. Actually, there should be no issue of delays or capacity. We have registered 50 NEMA officers who shall be able to undertake this process of approval. So we expect that your permits will be approved within 2 hours, owing to the huge number of resources that NEMA has invested in terms of the officers. So obviously the NEMA team will come into the approval tabs, find that permit, proceed to approve it. So they approve on 2 sections. So the first section, which is the item level, they will approve that. And then they'll proceed to the next section, which is now the main approval, which again must be approved. So approving at the item level. Remember, this training is also for the NEMA team, not just for stakeholders. So that's why I'm going through this approval process. Level, they'll approve the second level, which is now the permit is just a single use, cannot reuse it again, and then they will approve it. This is after you have paid for this permit. So essentially, that is just a quick walkthrough in terms of permit application, permit payment, and permit approval. But what I need to take you through, what I'm interested to show you is now on the live environment. I've changed my screen to a different screen where we are now seeing these permits that are live. This process went live yesterday. And since yesterday, most of you have been doing these applications. So we want to sample a few and see how the payments are being.
Joseph, could you change your screen? Someone has said they can't see.
Okay, so let me share this new screen. So I'm now sharing the live screen. These permits that were done since yesterday and today. So let's see, how are these payments coming through? What are the amounts that we are getting? I know most of you are complaining that the amounts are too high, but believe you me, once I take you through this, they are not that high. And also, depending on the item and how you have packaged it, you'll be able to know how to, submit your IDF in order to reduce this cost. So if we're just looking for NEMA permits, so these are the EPR permits done since yesterday. Let's go through a few samples. The first permit, you can see this item is one car. It's only one car from Japan. If you look at the charges, it's only 150 shillings. But that is a simplistic one. I'm sure you want to see a more complicated IDF permit that has several items in the IDF. This second one, is sorry, this has not been paid for. This hasn't picked. These are not been paid for. It hasn't picked. So let me use another one. So the second one has an item quantity of 25,000 PET bottle. The importer was importing PET bottle flakes. Again, where are the charges? No, so this is not EPR. This is a different NEMA permit. Remember, NEMA have many permits apart from EPR. So that's a different permit. I'm only looking for EPR. Here we can see this gentleman or this company imported laptops, Dell laptops and HP laptops. Dell were 58 items, HP were 34 items. If you look at the charges, they came to 13,800. That is because if you go back to the item, it is 58 plus 34 times 150. So the system calculates the total number of items and multiplies by 150, and that's why the importer had to pay a total cost of 13,800. If you calculate on your end, 58 plus 34 should give you that amount, 13,800 and something.
Maybe
so
Joseph, I can ask if you have an example of packaging.
So let me clarify
something. Electronics. Yeah.
Let me clarify something which I think Aisha left out. We have not yet implemented packaging for EPR. Packaging for EPR, as per NEMA's regulations, the NEMA's regulations have 5 categories. EPR has 5 categories. 1 and 2 is what deals with EPR. We have not implemented that. We have only implemented category 3, 4, and 5. Category 3 is for electronics. Category 4 is for automobiles. And category 5 is for non-packaging items. So we have not yet implemented package. We have implemented items, standalone items. If you bring a laptop, a vehicle, machinery, that is what we have implemented. For the other packaging part, we have advised NEMA that we will do it later after stakeholder engagement and after the system is configured to accommodate that kind of situation. However, I'm advised by NEMA that they are implementing that through eCitizen. So please note on TFP, it is strictly items. It's not about packaging here at this point. Are we together? So let me proceed. Let me show you another sample. This is the one we have looked, the one for the laptops.
So I just want to say, teacher, that you have a number of students who have said they are actually really lost just from the chat. There's actually a number of people who've asked if you could start again. They got lost from the beginning, and then if you could just move slowly and say step by step. So some of the comments are, you're too fast, kindly take your time and understand we're green in the matter. Could you please share from the header again, repeat especially the header. So I know you're showing the last parts, which is what it actually looks like. So once you finish, could you take some time to take them through it again?
Okay, I'm assuming that I'm on call with clearing agents who are very familiar with these processes. I had no idea that we have others who may not be at par with them. What we can do is this. What we can do is this. Can we get their details and reach out to them for a better training? We cannot train online. It's quite complicated for those who are doing it for the first time. And then given the timelines that we have, yeah. If you could just drop your email there or your contact, and then we can assign officers to take you a better session. I was of the assumption that I'm with clearing agents who don't need really to be taken through TFP because they're already familiar.
So we have some clearing agents. We also have some importers and other packaging manufacturers. So for them, it's really to understand the costings and what documentation they need. So some of the questions being asked is this a permit? How long is it going to have? So
thank you.
Is it a certificate? Yeah.
Okay, let me just take them through the system, and then when we go to the Q&A, I'll be able to respond to the same. But I'm actually hitting some of those questions.
Okay.
I'm hitting questions as we speak. Now here you can see the second permit. This company imported a grinder, eight grinders, and then also imported other 8 grinders, but of a different brand from China. So this is a total of 20 items. And according to the EPR regulations, they'll be charged a cost of 150 times 20. So bringing this to 3,000. So what are we beginning to see? We're beginning to see that at the moment, the current implementation of EPR, we have not implemented full EPR implementation. As I've mentioned, the packaging items, not yet. Those ones will become at a later phase when NEMA and KENTRADE and KRA are ready. As at now, we've only implemented individual, what we call standalone items. As you can see, like machinery, like laptops, like vehicles. And one item is 150. So if there's any other item you're importing that is outside that scope, at the moment you will not be asked for an NEMA EPR permit. Yeah. So we have only configured 750 something items. 750 something items according to the tariffs that we have configured for EPR. So it's not everything. And so just want to demystify that you will not be asked for an EPR certificate for all imports. It's not all imports. It's only category 3 electronics, category 4 automobile, and category 5 non-packaging items. And packaging items are like tires, and the others I think NEMA can clarify further. Let me see if there's any other sample that we can look at. One that has a little bit of more items. So this is only one car from Japan. You can see it's only 150. This one hasn't even brought the cost, so you can ignore that one for now. So this one has brought refurbished laptops, 7 refurbished laptops, and 47 tablets, and 470 tablets. So this comes to a total of 477. If you do 477 times 150, you get 71,550. Let's look at another one. This one has brought 25,000 PET flex, Petflex, I don't know, fiber, Petflex, Vitec fiber has brought 25,000 items. Multiplied by 150, you get that cost. Was no, this is another NEMA permit. It's not under EPR. Sorry, this one is not under EPR. Let's look for EPR. So as you can see, that item that we saw, it wasn't part of EPR, so it didn't bring any cost. That's why I'm saying not all items have a cost. This one is just one car. We've seen this. So this one has brought bearings. I think these are spare parts. So there's a question about spare parts earlier on. This gentleman or lady has brought bearings. There are only 2 bearings. So of course we expect that we pay 300 shillings. Yes, there is amount, 300 shillings. So essentially, ladies and gentlemen, we just to sample a few which we have seen, that is how NEMA EPR implementation is on the single window system. You can see these are only 4 items, backup camera systems, monitors, and backup cameras. So we're expecting 4 items is only going to pay 600 shillings. So there we go. We only have, so essentially what I wanted to take you through is just the application process, the requirements, first and foremost, the requirements. What are the requirements? I started by saying you need to be registered by NEMA, which is you pay a one-off fee of 5,000 shillings. Once you're registered, they will opt you in so that you're able to do the permits. And then, of course, you need a clearing agent to submit for you an IDF. Thereafter, the agent can come to the single window system and submit for you this permit, the EPR permit. The requirements for the EPR permit is only a pro forma invoice, ladies and gentlemen, nothing much than that. So in terms of requirements, we've made it very simple for you so that you, because we understand some of these documents may not be available during the time of application. The other requirement is just that you will be charged a cost of 150 shillings per item. And per item here, we're talking about electronics, automobiles, and non-packaging items. The issue of packaging, ile mnaongelea primary packaging, secondary packaging, please be advised we have not yet implemented that at the moment. That one is not working on single window as we speak. When that is implemented, of course, NEMA will inform you and will do a similar engagement. So yes, once you pay, NEMA will approve your EPR. NEMA has enough resources in terms of officers. We are now planning to train them. I'm seeing some of you are really harsh on our NEMA resource. Please don't be. They are also learning. They are just coming on the single window system with this new EPR. So they're also learning. So kindly bear with them, support them. Eventually they'll be very good at this and they'll be supporting you. So we are planning to train, there are 50 officers who will be approving, so we don't expect any delays. And then once your EPR is approved and all the other permits are approved, of course, it will trigger the IDF approval, which now, clears you for the other clearance processes and the declarations and stuff, the entries. So I think in terms of TFP, that is what I can demonstrate at the moment. I do appreciate the good comments that has come that have really been quick and I've rushed through this. And I would like to organize for a better forum with those who may need much more of this, may need more of this training and support. Now remember, before you submit a TFP permit, on KENTRADE system, you have to be registered and there's a payment to it. So the KENTRADE payment is $50. This $50 caters for your training and registration. So again, no need to worry about whether I've rushed through or not, because at the point of you requesting for credentials, you will be trained. And there's a cost of that, which is $50 plus VAT, coming to around 7,000 and something. And then, of course, part of the permit application is also payment for the UCR, which is just $10. I think I'll take it back over to you, EPRK. for any Q&As.
Maybe one question is, how long does it take to clear?
Okay, when you say to clear, what do you mean? Is it to approve a permit?
To get
clear your
approval? Yes, to get approved and get the permit.
So we are trying to work an SLA with NEMA to ensure that they don't delay anyone. We are pushing for 2 hours, but again, it's also dependent on their internal capacity. From what we are seeing, we're seeing 50 officers are more than capable to give an approval within 2 hours. So we'll try to push for that. As soon as possible, whenever you submit your application, you should get your approval more or less almost immediately. If everything is okay, if they have no issue with the application, why should it delay? So we are pushing for that. On this one, KENTRADE is on the side of stakeholders to ensure that approvals are done as quick as possible.
Yeah. So here's another question. I know you discussed this before, but a tire or battery importer has 10,000 pieces on the pro forma invoice. So the EPR import certificate cost will be 1.5 million. So the question is, why do we need to pay this amount before, as we are not sure of what the actual quantities are being shipped out? There could be scenarios where the supplier ships out in partial shipment. How does that work? And what happens for quantities that are not fully supplied?
Okay, that's actually a very good question. I do understand that your IDF may have much more than what your permit will have. But this permit, you're submitting it with your pro forma, hoping that the permit details, the permit quantity are the ones that you are sure about bringing in the country. And yet we've seen that when you submit a permit, it will pick from the IDF items and charge you on those items that you did on the IDF, even though what you may bring may be less. I think there's still a conversation there between KENTRADE and NEMA to see how best to handle those scenarios, because it will not be fair for traders to pay for more than what they're actually bringing in. Allow us to have that conversation with NEMA and then revert back to the stakeholders so that we ensure that nobody loses their money along the way.
Okay, thank you. So a question to the team from NEMA, because of your comment on 3, 4, and 5, which is what they'd mentioned last week as well. But the question is, we needed to have started from registration stage, then move to EPR import. So Aisha indicated that all items are subject to the EPR import. Could we please get clarification on that? We also know there's the e-citizen platform. So Anastasia and Aisha, if you could help us classify the two applications, and should we start on the e-citizen?
So, sorry, before Anastasia comes in, just to clarify on the returning citizens who are returning with personal items, any item that enters the country, any item that enters the country must be declared. It must be declared, and it's subject to the custom processes and laws. So there are those items, of course, that enjoy exemption, but eventually the process has to be done, be it an IDF, be it an entry, that has to be declared. And where necessary, as per the various regulations in place by different agencies, different certifications and requirements will be done for that particular item. So for instance, on EPR, if a gentleman is coming in with a vehicle or with a laptop and they declare it on the IDF, they will pay the 150. So it's not that returning citizens don't do IDFs, they do, they must declare, but and they will be subjected to the various fees and charges. However, there are some special exemptions for them, depending on different items that they have.
Okay. Another question. Oh, sorry. Can we hear from Anastasia and regarding the items scheduled 1 and 2? Anastasia, Aisha?
Let me clarify something based on some feedback on the clearing forum. The EPR is called Extended Producer Registration Certificate. That is the name it is called. But on the system, you will go to permits. That is where you'll find it. So don't go to certificate. Are we together? The EPR, what we are applying on live. The reason I was not able to get the EPR on trial is that we have a system challenge on trial. That is why I was not able to get EPR. But on the live environment, please note, the EPR, despite being called certificate, it is under permits.
Okay. As we wait for NEMA to respond to the items 1 and 2, there's another question, which is, what happens if the unit of measure is kilograms and not unit, which is what is given on the document?
That one, we have not yet implemented that. For kilograms, any other item of measure apart from unit has not been implemented. We have implemented those items that can be measured as units. For example, as I've mentioned, automobiles, electronics and stuff. Things that are measured in other units of measure, we are still working with NEMA around that because we understand the complexity of that process. And NEMA is handling that process through eCitizen. For TFP, at the moment, we are only dealing with items, not packaging. Let me clarify that clearly. We are not dealing with packaging on TFP, we're just dealing with items.
Okay. So, NEMA, Anastasia and Aisha, sorry, are you able to share with us the clarification? Okay, as we wait for them, here's another question. So the question here from Mary Jambi, which is, does it mean all importers will be required to pay 5,000 for the PIN to be opted in? Mary Jambi, by PIN, do you mean the producer registration certificate number? Maybe you meant PRN?
Let me clarify that. The 5,000 is payable to NEMA as per their regulations, which they register importers. KENTRADE does not charge opt-in. PIN opting is supposed to be a free service. It's only that NEMA opt-in their users because they know who their people are, who their stakeholders are. But the payment is for NEMA, not for KENTRADE. For PIN opting, it's supposed to be free.
Okay. So are you able to just take what the payment to NEMA is being done on the eCitizen platform for producer registration, right?
Yes.
Okay. So members of the call, kindly note that even for using the system, you are all required to register with NEMA as producers, whether you're a producer who's a local manufacturer, a producer who's an importer, a producer who's importing finished goods, or a producer who's importing raw materials, or a converter. And this is a one-off payment that is done on the NEMA eCitizen producer registration platform. Do we still have NEMA with us on the call? Aisha? And maybe you can help us, Joseph, with this, is that we have had a few people who've made their applications on the eCitizen platform.
On eCitizen, I wouldn't be able to comment. I think that's for NEMA to shed light.
Okay. Okay, so another question from the chat. I think we can have Abraham Omonya as I go through some of the questions. Abraham Omonya has his hand up, and Christopher Adero as I ask the next question, which is, after arrival at the port of destination, this is assuming the IDF was already done, what is the procedure for removing, for clearing the products?
I think that's a question from someone who's probably doing this on the first time. For him, we can advise him to seek the services of a clearing agent, because the processes are very unique depending on the product and depending on the process. So clearing agents are the ones who are equipped and trained to handle those different scenarios. We wouldn't be able to answer that question here because we don't know what he's dealing with. So for him, maybe just ask him to reach out to a clearing agent. They'll be able to guide them on the same. But having said that,
in this case,
yes. In this case, go
please
ahead.
finish.
So
No, just finish and ask.
Yes, it's okay. So initially, when I was doing my application on the system, as mentioned earlier, my system was not able to project whether it's a certificate or a permit. So for EPR, we have configured them under certificate. Yeah, so we should have it here, but we're just having a challenge on our trial environment, and our team is sorting that out. But as we proceed with this, once they fix, we'll be able to take you through it. So kindly bear with us on that one, so that we don't confuse stakeholders.
So in this case, we are saying that clearing agents can apply for the EPR import certificates on behalf of their clients.
Yes.
The other question is, if someone has, well, this one is more on beverages, so we leave it for NEMA. What happens if you decide to cancel the order you had already applied for the EPR import certificate?
Anastasia, could you respond on that? I think NEMA can respond on that.
Okay, we'll leave that one for NEMA. Then the other question is, the tires were mentioned is if it's per piece, if they are not packaged, but batteries are usually on a pallet. So this would be under item number 3. Anastasia, I think if you're able to hear us, you can just unmute. So the question is, how are they payable yet batteries are wrapped up in secondary packaging? Is it per the pallet or is it per the battery piece? Joseph?
Sorry, come again?
The question on batteries on a pallet as the second item. So the batteries are packaged under secondary items.
So as per our current configuration, which I need to clarify this again, we are not looking at packaging. We are only looking at the item. If the item falls under regulation 3, 4, or 5 of NEMA, batteries are under electronics and electronic items. That is category 3. Batteries will incur a cost of 150 per item. That is according to the regulations that NEMA have given us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I don't know where the NEMA team should respond to such. I don't know whether they are in. Is Anastasia in to help on the same?
Yes, we're trying to get a hold of Anastasia. So just give us a few. I'm going to try and give only the ones that apply to you. We're taking note of the ones where we need NEMA to take note of. So the other question is, are there VAT charges for this fee?
Yes, there are VAT charges on for the TFP processes. That is the user training and registration. There's $50 plus VAT, as well as the UCR. UCR has a VAT again of 16%. But for NEMA fees, there's no VAT. For the EPR fees, there's no VAT.
Okay. Then the other question is, raw materials of plastics, they fall under which category? Because someone had seen pellets and resin in your application.
So what is the question?
Joseph? The plastics, the raw materials, the plastic resin, the PET, the other plastics.
Those ones, and those ones we are not yet, you shouldn't have configured them at this point. I think NEMA can clarify that one. I am not, because from my understanding, we're only configuring items that fall into category 3, 4, and 5: electronics, automobiles, and non-packaging items. For that one, let's wait for the NEMA team to clarify on that. There's also quite a critical question here that there are IDFs that were done before EPR went live, and now the entries are asking for holds of NEMA. So obviously that one, as the system has already demanded for a hold, the only way to resolve that is to send that entry number to our contact center, and then we will ask the KRA officers to do a manual release, because that one now, system-wise, it cannot happen, because we cannot tell you to go back and do a NEMA permit when you already have an approved IDF. So for such scenarios, just send the entry number to our contact center. We'll work with NEMA to facilitate KRA with you a manual release.
Okay. So someone has asked, how will the charges be calculated for fabric that's shipped loosely in a container up to 1,400 pieces, where the container itself serves as the packaging item? And I think this is similar to the same for tires. Is it the same as saying all of those are one item? Or is it 1,400 pieces? Because they are standalone fabric rolls.
I'm not sure whether fabric falls under category 3, 4, or 5.
It would be number 5.
If it falls under category 5, then it will be charged. Yes. Then it will be charged, I think, 150 per bulk packaging, because you see, for fabric you can't charge per piece. For example, mtumba, you can't count mtumba how many there in a bale. So it will be charged around 50 per bale.
Okay, but in this case, this person has said that in this container there are 1,400 pieces of fabric loosely fitted in the container. So in this case, the container is the packaging. So is it just going to be one? Because you see the mtumba, they're already in bales, so you can count the bales.
Yes, from mtumba it will count the bales. It will be charged 150 times the bales.
And for the fabric?
I'd like NEMA to expound on that. We haven't seen any sample on fabrics. I think NEMA should be able to demystify that. Kindly look for them so that they respond to these questions. You know, KENTRADE is just a system, yeah? KENTRADE does not own this process. For us, we just ensure that you have a system to do this. The person who should be responding to this is the regulator.
Okay, so let me try and get more technical questions, okay? So now, in terms of HS codes and the categories, do we have a list of HS codes that we should use?
Yes. We have a list of HS codes. Actually, we can share with you the list. I think we should share with you the list so you are aware.
Yes, please.
NEMA, please facilitate that. Just so we can provide the list of the, maybe you can share with KIFWA. We can share with KIFWA and
Shippers Council, the suppliers. So
share with,
will we get it from NEMA or will we get it from KENTRADE?
share with us those emails. We'll ask NEMA to forward.
Okay, all right. So we will distribute the HS codes and the categories to everyone once we get them from NEMA. Okay. Now, in this case, someone has said we have shipments already at the port. How are we going to do EPR permit yet? It is applied using the base document. So this is one of the people to also call directly, right?
Yeah, that's
so
the
if
one I've
anyone
clarified.
has, yeah, okay.
The one I've clarified, just send an email with the entry number. We'll liaise with KRA for manual release.
Okay. So there's another question, which is the EPR permit pre-clearance or post-clearance?
It's a pre-clearance. That's why we need an IDF, the pre-clearance. But we are having engagements with NEMA. We are having engagements with NEMA to see the best way to proceed. We are proposing that it becomes a clearance process. So if NEMA accepts, we will be able to change from pre-clearance to clearance. But for now, it's pre-clearance.
Okay. So someone has okay, we're still going to, so for members of the call, we're still here to confirm with NEMA on the EPR import fee for items scheduled 1 and 2. So here's another question, which is in the case of bulk cargo, where goods are not individually packed but are in tanker vessels and discharged directly into the warehouse facility, do they still apply to such consignments? And how would they be treated, given that these shipments are typically declared in kilograms for both packages and quantity? Joseph?
That's a NEMA issue. That's a NEMA related query.
It's a NEMA issue. Okay, all right. So I'd just like to highlight that tomorrow NEMA will be having a physical in-person sensitization. As soon as we get the location, we will share, but we will put up the post for you to see their invitation. So another question is staple removers, staplers, paper punches, stationery, basically. Would these fall under the per item because they are really not packaging, but they're, or is it, how would these work? Because they're electronic equip. Well, they're non-packaging items.
Again, NEMA, yeah. Again, NEMA. Also, it's also important to know that not all items under category 3, 4, and 5 were configured. Also important to know that. Only the
so if we find that an item is not configured, should you just keep?
Remember, KRA reviewed these HS code, those tariffs before they were implemented. So not all items are configured. That is why it is. I think this session is NEMA's session. They should be responding to this. As KENTRADE, I'm not able to answer. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let me try it. So I'm going to read a few more questions. If there are any hands that are up, I think we can just unmute the hands that are up, and then have them speak. If there are any hands that are up, so here we have Vivian, we have Fred. So let's just unmute the hands that are up. Lynette Omboagi and Abraham Omonya. So as Joseph has asked, I think for now NEMA has taken a temporary break from the meeting. We will continue with NEMA tomorrow. So if you're asking any question, kindly, I'll give us 10 more minutes of this call and then we can close the meeting in preparation for tomorrow. So kindly note that there will be a follow-up meeting tomorrow, and this one is going to be an in-person meeting hosted by NEMA, and they are yet to confirm to us the location, but through the same channels that you received this invitation, once we have the location, we will send it to you. So for those whose hands are up, we can start with Abraham Omonya. Kindly restrict your questions to only the technical part of the application that Joseph can answer. And this is for items 3, 4, and 5. 3 is your electrical and electronic equipment. 4 is your vehicles, your automobiles, your motorbikes, generally any engine running machine that moves. And then number 5 is your automobile, is your non-packaging items.
Hello, I think you should look for NEMA this meeting. This is quite disservice to their stakeholders. These are their processes. They need to provide responses. As far as KENTRADE is concerned, we can only answer on TFP issues, which are, unless there's a system challenge, really there's nothing much KENTRADE can contribute to this discussion. The regulator here is NEMA. I propose that you look for them, they join the meeting, they respond to their stakeholders.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, true,
taking
because
every
even my
measure
questions
to
were on the
locate
same.
them. Okay,
And
so we can
now
only
I'll
take
have too much
questions
to
that are
add,
for
ask.
TPF.
Yes,
I'm
yes.
sorry about that. So I've mentioned Joseph because I think at this point NEMA had to take a step out, but we can take a few questions that are specifically a systems question. So I've seen someone has asked and said they have a systems question. So if your hand is up and you're unmuted and you have a systems question, kindly go ahead and ask your question. We have said that we will share the HS codes later on today. So could you also unmute Robert? Vivian, is your question a systems question? Akash, is your question a systems question? Evelyn, is your question a systems question? So if you have a question, kindly, and your hand is up, we've given you a permission to speak. Kindly unmute David Kajau, Christopher Adero.
Hi, Gadoni. Mine is more on the NEMA side. So until maybe they are here or tomorrow, that's when I can ask mine. Thank you for now.
Okay, thank you, David. Kindly put down your hand. So if you have your hand up and your question was for NEMA, kindly let's take the questions for tomorrow. If you have a systems question, kindly you can unmute yourself and ask the question. Evelyn Owalo, I saw your hand was up. Frederick Otieno. Beatrice Stelpet.
Yes, you had muted me, Frederick here. Can we have a KENTRADE personnel assist us on these entries that are having on hold? And we are not able to release. Can we have just KENTRADE team assist? Because now time is really an essence here. That is my concern.
Yes, we will. Yes, we will. Frederick, send me those entry numbers.
I already sent an email, and the response I'm getting from your team is not really assisting in the situation. From morning, I had an entry from morning. Now we are at 12:52, approaching 1.
That's noted. I've noted your issue. Just please inbox me the details, and then I will pick it up right away.
Unfortunately, I don't have your contact details.
So Joseph, you can share.
Ama iko hapo kwa JKA group. My name is Joe. Just find my contact.
Okay. Let me
So
check.
Joseph,
We
do you
really
give us
need this
permission to
sorted.
share your contacts? Okay, so we have Vivian, Nalianya, Rosa, Elizabeth, Imran, Gal Limited, Alpha Chayo, Stelpet.
This is Alpha.
Okay.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. My question is
Good afternoon.
to KENTRADE.
Mnajua ishi yake. Nasikia mwashtaki. So wacha niambie watu wa NEMA.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
My question is, after doing the IDF, when getting the import permit in the system, when you do use the base document for IDF application, and you want to amend it or cancel it, how is the refund going to happen if I already made that payment to the e-citizen platform? Or what he was saying for category 3, 4, and 5, you want to cancel an IDF, you already made the payment. How do you go about it, and how do you get your refund? That is my question.
Joseph, will you handle that question? Or is that a NEMA question?
Kindly come again. I think that's it's a payment issue I can attempt. Please come again.
My question is, I use a base document for IDF application, either a commercial invoice or a pro forma invoice, and then I make the payment on either for 3, 4, and 5. I make the payment on the system, and then later I change my mind, or my shipper changes his mind. We want to amend the invoice, or we want to amend the IDF. How do we go about it?
Yes.
And yet payment was already made. So that is scenario 1. Scenario 2 is when I want to cancel the whole shipment. I don't want to bring it in now, and I already made the payment. So how do we go about the invoice refunds?
So
the refund can be on 2 issues, 2 scenarios, whereby I can be given I can be told to use it on my next my next application. But if for this case, this is someone who is probably doing an import for the first and the last time. No, for the case of those who are importing motor vehicles, someone is importing once, and he's not going to. He makes the payment and now wants to cancel it. Is there a process of getting the refunds?
Yes, we advise NEMA. We advise NEMA that even KRA allow for adjustments and reviews and even transfer of funds. So same way you can cancel an entry and transfer to another. We advise NEMA that they should also ensure that process is that they copy also the customs procedures and processes, so that no stakeholder is disadvantaged or goes at a loss. So that one they are looking internally whether they can. That's why these guys should be here. That's what I work with. How do I respond? But one of the things we've told them is that they are supposed to ensure that they come up with a policy for refund, whether that refund will be applied to the next document, or whether that refund will be applied to any other NEMA service, or whether that refund will be cash, but they must come up with a refund process. So that is one of the things in our SLA that we have with them. It's not really just about them collecting money. It should also ensure that they only issue service for what has entered the country, but what has not been done, then they have no business collecting that money. So I think this is still, I think the leadership of KIFWA should probably get an official, something official from NEMA, you know, about these commitments, something about how these refunds will be done, in what way or in what structure. I think there has to be kind of like an engagement between KIFO and NEMA so that it's clear. And we don't, when we go back to the field, we are now clear about what will happen in the event of such a scenario. But NEMA are not here to respond, so I don't know now what else to say.
Because for instance, I think it's bringing a lot of confusion in the industry and it's bringing a lot of delays in terms of IDF approvals. We need to send IDFs to sourcing sites for COC applications. Those are going to allow to delay. And then now here we are having entry problems since morning. We are going to incur extra clearance, port storage charges and some extra clearance charges. So it's going, if it's not addressed well, it's going to be chaos because it's going to delay us and delay processes, and it's going to increase clearance costs, which them not being in this engagement, and yet they were supposed to be here to address these issues is quite not nice. That's two cents.
I agree with, even as KENTRADE, remember we get now these problems, they come and become our problems, we get this pressure, even as we don't want these scenarios. That's why we had an agreement. But now, PAKPRO, you're doing us a disservice. Where is the host? Where is the regulator? We are holding a meeting about NEMA without.
So let me try and manage that for us, and that's why I had said that at this point, because NEMA was with us in the meeting, and NEMA have also given us their comments to say that tomorrow they want to have an in-person meeting. So that's why I have made the request that up until this point, let us, because it is possible for us to stay in the webinar for the rest of the meeting. So my request to us is that if there are any more system questions, we can table them to Joseph. We've taken note of the people who are on hold, and we will reach out to you as well to connect you with Joseph if you've not yet already gotten his contact. However, I would like to request that we have a meeting tomorrow. I think, Sydney, if you can just post that once more. They have put this on their social media and as well have sent it out to each of us so that tomorrow we can continue with this discussion in person at the physical location. Sydney, if you could please share the invitation. Okay, so kindly take note. Yes, we can hear you.
Just one question to Joseph. I've seen on the KENTRADE when he's applying on the item number, probably you have two units, two P's, but at the end they're in one box. And the charges is calculating by the number of pieces you insert there, which again is not the right thing. How did you address that? Maybe probably I was not aware about that.
For us as KENTRADE, my brother, sisi tunaambiwa tuna regulator configure as this or as that. KENTRADE has no role in that. These guys went to parliament, got an act, got the regulations. They came to us and said, we want this configured like this. So for us, we just provide the system. It is up to them. And I may agree with you, hii wangeweka more probably in terms of packaging, so that it becomes less punitive. And now we are talking about an issue where they are not here to respond. And that is now the challenge. Hata mimi nikikuambia anything, even if I promise you will do this and that, I don't have those powers because I'm not the regulator. KENTRADE always gives the system.
Yeah. So I think Joseph, I would like to bring us to a close so that we can prepare for tomorrow. Well, and also release you to go back to your meetings. We apologize that it ended without having final confirmations from the authority. However, I would like to reiterate that the authority has given their commitment to having the meeting tomorrow. We are allowing them to, they have requested that they continue with their deliberations. They've taken a number of the comments from last week's meeting and this week's and today's conversations, and we know that they are aligning. Now, regarding the venue for tomorrow, as soon as we receive the location, we will share it with you through the communication channels that were used to invite you to this webinar. Regarding the HS codes, we will also follow up on that, and we will share those with you as soon as we get them. The contacts for Joseph, if you could, if you're willing, you could just paste your email, especially for those who have an issue. I'll also ask Sydney to post our details. So if you have any issue, especially those who have items on hold, you can reach out to us and we can directly connect you with the KENTRADE, with Joseph. Now, someone had asked about PRO registered licensed PROs. Currently, all the PROs are under review. So there is no PRO that has a license. We currently have 4 PROs in this country. That's PAKPRO, the Packaging Producer Responsibility Organization, which handles all non-hazardous and hazardous packaging. We have KEPRO, Kenya Extended Producer Responsibility Organization, which handles non-hazardous packaging. We have HAPROC, which covers the hazardous packaging, and we have EPROC, which covers electrical and electronic products. So all of us are currently under a review, and so there is no entity that has their licenses. Now, we will also send each one of you a recording of this call after this meeting, as well as the steps that we currently have. So this includes the steps for, Sydney, if you can just put up the other picture, which has the different steps that NEMA had sent. So we will also share the steps for registering as a producer, the steps for you to have your plastic clearance license. So if any of you is using plastic packaging, you know you need a plastic clearance license. We will also share the steps for becoming a member of a PRO, as well as the steps that we have so far for the import fee, basically the links towards the starting on the TPF single window system, and we will confirm with NEMA about the eCitizen. We apologize that some of your questions were not handled in this webinar, and we know it's a very frustrating experience for some of you who may not have had your questions tackled. We will consolidate all these questions and we will be with you tomorrow in the in-person meeting and table them as a summarized question for the authority to respond. So we thank you so much for participating in this workshop. From the management at PAKPRO, we thank you for your attendance, and we thank you so much, Joseph, as well, for being committed and responding to all the questions as diligently as you could. Thank you, participants, for sitting with us in this webinar. We hope that it has shed some light, even though some more questions have been raised for some of you. We urge that you attend tomorrow's in-person, and it will be on the 18th and the 19th. If you have other affiliate companies in the Western region, as well as in the coast, kindly also invite them to attend the in-person meetings. With that, I wish you all a wonderful afternoon. And thank you very much. We will also share the NEMA contact details. So we will send all these on email. So within the hour, you should be able to receive a pack from PAKPRO. As long as you've registered to join this webinar, we have your emails. So thank you very much once again, and I wish you well. This is the end of our meeting. Have a wonderful afternoon. Pili, I can see your hand is up. Thank you all.
Hello.
Hi, Pili.
Hi. Mine is 2 questions. The first one is like the clearance agent. Are they be able to apply like the certificate on our behalf?
Yes.
They can.
Yes.
Okay. Now, because for example, me, I'm doing a beverage, like I'm importing some wines. So is this category indicated on the NEMA part?
That's one of the questions we said we will ask tomorrow when we have the in-person with NEMA.
Okay, kindly, because for us, we import like, for example, we have like 30 units or maybe up to 50 to 100 units. But now on the units, now there's cases and there's some bottles. So in this category,
so
we need to know
that tomorrow.
Okay, sawa.
Yeah, please, we'll just send you a copy of the invitation.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.